Wyclef Jean, BKS1 Radio. Let's go.
This is Essence Atkins, and this is BKS1 Radio.
Hi, this is Melba Moore, and you're listening to BKS1 Radio.
Yo, check it out. What's the deal? This the chef. Giving a big shout out to my peoples. Big KS, you already know what it is. Salute.
What's up? It's your girl Monifa, and I'm hanging with BKS1 Radio.
Hi, I'm Iyanla Vanzan, and you're listening to BKS1 Radio.
BKS Radio, baby.
Hey, this is Jasmine Guy for BKS1 Radio.
What's going on? This is Lamont Rooker, and this is BKS1 Radio.
Shout out to BKS1, the best kept damn secret in the business.
Hey, what's up? This is Raven Goodwin from BET's Being Mary Jane, and shout out to BKS1.
Hi, this is Leon. You're watching BKS1 Radio.
BKS1. God bless y'all.
Hello, and welcome to BKS1 Radio, the Our Show. It's your girl, Latoya Chanel, and I am so glad to be back here in the building one more time and ready to do another show right here. Listen. I'm going to be very honest with y'all. Y'all know I'm getting up in age, and so I almost didn't make it here. I set my alarm. I was telling Jeff right here in the studio, I set my alarm at 6:30 so I could get here on time, and guess what? I set it for 6:30 a.m., not 6:30 p.m., so I was racing here like one of them crazy people trying to get in the building. But, I made it here now. And here we are. So another show, but guess what? Because we have guests that are going to be coming in next week. So we have the ladies of the Yoshida Academy that are coming back next week. And y'all know we always talk about the Red Flag series when they are in studio. So we'll be continuing on with that particular series when they are back as of next week. But this week, I wanted to continue on with what we were talking about last week, right? So last week's conversation got really, really good. And there were a lot of comments on Instagram and a lot of comments on Facebook. You know what? I need to get into Facebook so I can see comments just in case anybody has them. But there were a lot of comments that were on Facebook about what we were talking about last week. So for everybody that's watching right now, last week we had started talking about why black men and why black women are single. And I know. Everybody's tired of talking about relationships, and everybody's tired of talking about this, almost like this versus situation, black men versus black women. But unfortunately, it's very real, and it's something that's really happening in our culture and in our society. And seemingly, and I could be wrong, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't seem to be happening in other cultures, and it doesn't seem to be happening, in other spaces. It's really just us, right? So I'm just going to continue on with the conversation from last week because, it's very interesting. I got a lot of people that said some things to me after the show. There were people that wanted to call in last week that didn't get a chance to. So in the event that there's, anyone who is watching on any outlet you're watching on, whether it's YouTube Live or Instagram or Facebook, and you want to call in and join in the discussion, just let me know. So here we go. Last week, there were so many things said as to why people are single, right? You had a number of people that are saying that folks are choosing to be alone. It is a choice. It is a conscious choice to be alone. It is a conscious choice because everybody's different, right? And what do I mean by everybody's different? You have a lot of men that are saying the women are different as far as morals are concerned, as far as values are concerned. You had a lot of men saying that there are a lot of women that are following this social media reality lifestyle, and they don't respect it, and they don't want to deal with women of that caliber. You have a lot of women that are saying men are not the same. Now, I get that, we are all people of a certain age. We are not children. We are not in our 20s, and most of us are not even in our 30s anymore, right? We're 40s, 50s, 60s years old. And so we are full grown adults at this point. But I think we have to realize, and I think we have to recognize that the world is changing. And because the world is changing, we all have adjustments to make. Now, I am a very traditional person. I believe in all the traditional values. I believe in gender roles, in a heterosexual relationship. I like gender roles in a heterosexual relationship. But even though I like that, and even though I tend to think I'm traditional with a spin per se, even though I tend to think I'm traditional with a spin, there's still so many societal changes and things that are not the norm anymore that even I have had to adjust to the times, because things are in fact very, very different. And there were a lot of things that were taught, and there were a lot of beliefs that we had growing up that don't apply in society today. So as women, right, and especially as women growing up in churches, we were taught that in order to get into relationships and in order to get married, that there were certain things that were a given. There were certain things that if you are this kind of woman with these kind of actions and you exhibit these kind of qualities or these kind of behaviors, that you were a shoo-in, that finding a husband would not be a problem. And in yesteryear, that may have been true, but I find that it's very, very different now. And I feel like those of us in that late 30, 40, 50 age group are finding a hard time adjusting, because we are trying to, this is a biblical reference. We are trying to put new wine in old wineskins. And then we tend to get angry when it's not working. Are y'all following me here, or does it just sound like I'm rambling? So, again, growing up, you were taught that there were soft and feminine women, and definitely not being independent. What other qualities? You all know there's other qualities that women are supposed to have, that if you were a woman, and then if you were a woman that was doing something with your life and you went to school and you got a degree and you were educated, that added to your value, right? Because you were educated, but you were going to stay at home and you were going to raise children and you were going to cater to your husband, and that was going to be your life, and you were okay with that. And so I think the fact of the matter is that a lot of us don't live that life anymore. Now, some people do. Some people still do, but most of us don't live that life anymore. And especially in this age group, right? In your 40s and 50s, most of us have children already, or if you don't have children, you're either not having children at these ages or your children are grown. So no one's staying home anymore to raise children. But for those that are still single, a lot of us are applying philosophies to relationships that are past that time period. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? We have a very antiquated approach to getting into relationships, and it's an antiquated approach for someone who's 20s and 30s, but it definitely doesn't apply to someone who is in their 40s and 50s. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? And you have a number of men and women that are trying to apply these antiquated principles into new circumstances and situations. Again, I see myself as a very traditional woman in relationships, but there's still adjustments that have to be made. For example, I'll give an example. In dating now, and everybody that's watching, in dating now, In yesteryear, there was no text messaging. In yesteryear, there wasn't DMs on social media and, people communicating through those means. There was letter, phone, or in person. That was it. So when you're 40 and 50 years old now, you may be 45, 50 years old dating someone that has adjusted to our new societal norms as far as text messaging is concerned, but you are thinking about, no, well, if they don't pick up the phone and call me, they're not interested. Now, I'm gonna be very honest with you. I might be one of those people, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the person is not interested. It may mean that is just their form of communication, right? And if that is their form of communication, that's just who they are. That's just how they are. That's just how they operate. But what you can't do and what you can't say is that because someone is 40, 50, 60 years old and they're speaking to you via message stream, that they're necessarily not interested, especially in the beginning, in the initial phases of meeting someone, right? So that's just one example that social media has changed a lot on how people meet each other and how people interact with each other. And again, the people that you're meeting, you never know if who's who and what's what, right? Of course, I guess it would be important to meet somebody who feels the exact same way that you do. And then you won't have these problems and you won't have these issues. But in the event that you don't, what do? Right? And I guess that's where communication and comprehension should probably come into play if this is someone that you like enough that you want to continue to speak to, right? So that's just one example. Another example, like I said, is morals and values have changed. So what we know to be traditional, well, what some of us know to be traditional morals and values at a 40 plus age bracket can be different now. It can be different now. And I'm going to give you an example on how people can get confused. You have a lot of women nowadays that feel like when meeting someone, it's important to lead with either how much money they make or what they do for a living or their accomplishments. And after talking to countless men, my male friends and even people I've dated, I have heard 10 times over that they don't care about that. Women leading with their accomplishments while dating isn't something that most men care about. And it confuses a lot of women. Has anybody else heard this? Y'all let me know, right? And the men, y'all chime in too and tell me in your first date with someone or just talking to someone, a woman leading with her accomplishments, if that's a good thing. Now, I will say in yesteryear, I feel like growing up, we felt like that added to who we are, who we are as a person. So it's like, okay, I'm a good woman, I'm a solid woman, and on top of that, I did this and I accomplished this and I made this. So I don't think a lot of women are saying that to present some form of competition to the person that they've just met. I feel like they're saying that to say, this is the kind of woman I am. This is the kind of accomplished woman I am. And not only can I do these traditional things that you may be worried about, but I can do these things too. But the problem is that that's not how men read it, right? That's not how men read it. It's conveyed as a way of saying, I'm presenting myself to you, I feel like most women. But for most men, I don't believe it's received that way, right? So, a lot of what we have to do as men and women is adjust and pivot with the times. Because what we used to do and how we used to meet people and the things that used to be important and the things that people used to value is no more. It's no more. I'm going to say this. Maybe in the 90s, right? Maybe in the 90s, as a woman, if you met someone and you had become this accomplished woman on top of all the other things you did, maybe men might have been impressed by that. I don't know. Maybe men might have been impressed by that. Now, not so much. Not so much. And I don't know. Somebody, you all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to say not so much. I think it's very different, and I think things have changed. I think from a male standpoint, obviously I'm not a man, but I think from a male standpoint, a lot of men are looking for women to be soft and traditional again, where it may have been accepted with these all accomplishments and all these things maybe a few decades ago. I think nowadays men are reverting back to women, wanting them to be very soft and very traditional. Now, in dating, while it's okay to want those things when you're meeting somebody, and while it's okay to express to the person that you're meeting how that is something that you value, you also have to recognize that, again, we're not in our 20s and 30s. These are not women that are just starting out in life, so they don't have a lot of experience and, needing to meet someone and having a husband for survival anymore. Those days are gone. Those days are gone. We don't have those days anymore, right? So women are going to be very different. Women are very independent now, whether it's by choice or whether it's not by choice. And to be in your 40s and your 50s and your 60s and trying to meet someone, 9 times out of 10, that person is well established. They have all the things already, which means they already own a home for those that do, or already have had their own place for years at a time. They are already well into their careers, well into their personal routines, already have certain friendships, the people they trust, the people they don't trust. A lot of those things are worked out in people's lives already. So you have to recognize when you're just coming into someone's life, at the middle of their life, there's not going to be a lot that you're going to be able to change about that individual. There are just going to be things that you would have to accept and move forward with, and maybe y'all can come together and create some new boundaries and some new guidelines for your relationship. But as far as coming into relationships and changing people, that isn't necessarily something that's going to be able to be done, when you're 40 plus. When you're 40 plus, that's just not something that really even makes sense. So that's just a few examples of what I mean by we keep trying to place old norms into a new culture. And not only is it a new culture, but it's a new culture pretty much at an advanced age. And I feel like a lot of us are getting tripped up on that. And so it's contributing to the initial question and the continuation of last week's show as to why it appears that most African-American women and African-American men at 40 plus are single or are choosing to be single. We are getting frustrated with one another. And I feel like the frustration can stem from us trying to put older rules into new situations. Just some thoughts. Norm. Okay, so Norm was watching. So Norm said, heterosexual men don't want masculine women. We still want soft, even though you can hold your own. I get that. And I completely understand that. So my question to you, Norm, is what do most men see as soft if most women are holding their own? So is it they can hold their own, but they aren't, or they can hold their own and they are. And here's why I ask that question. Because anytime you're a single woman who has to handle every single thing in your life, it is very, very difficult not to operate out of masculine energy. Because most decision making, most preparation, most making a way, figuring it out, whatever it is, however you want to say it, most of that is what men do. And y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Most of that is what men do. Men figure it out. Men provide. Men find a way to make things happen. Men handle decisions and you know, all of the things that they're supposed to be doing in life. Those are all things that men do. So if you are a woman and you are in fact doing all of those things, aren't you in fact operating out of masculine energy? And if you are operating out of masculine energy, how difficult is it going to be to operate out of that energy and still be soft for a man if he isn't handling a lot of those things in your life or in your world? Just asking a question. And then I'll put my own personal spin on it. When you have been in control, and if you enter into a relationship where you still have to be in control, as far as decisions and bills and future and all of those things, then how are you're almost not even allowed to operate out of any kind of feminine energy or any kind of softness, because that is strictly masculine. So how do you do that? How do you do that? Edward Roach said, don't make it a competition in future and all of those things. Wait, I'm gonna read that again. Don't make it a competition in future and all of those things. Explain to me what you mean by that, because I really want to know. I really want to understand what it is you're saying. Don't make it a competition. So don't make the providing, you mean, a competition, or don't make the other stuff a competition? Andre says, why does living have to be masculine? Why can't you be soft and provide for yourself? I think we got to define masculine. Okay, good question. Let's define masculine then. Let's define what masculine energy is in a relationship. And again, for a heterosexual relationship where people are following traditional gender roles and norms, what does masculine energy mean, and what are traditional roles of men? And then what are traditional roles of women? And again, I ask that question because if a woman is holding her own in a relationship with a man, and by holding her own, I mean she is paying all of her bills, she is making all of the decisions for everyone, is she not operating out of masculine energy? You guys, I'll wait for you to comment in the chat, because all the fellas are commenting in the chat tonight. So, and thank y'all for doing it. But I want to define this, because these are the conversations that we should be having. Because again, you have a number of us in the African American community that are 40 plus, and we are 40 plus and we are not getting together. We are 40 plus and we are single. We are 40 plus and people are not getting married anymore. We are 40 plus and it's almost like people detest the thought of being in a relationship with the opposite sex. We are 40 plus and it's almost like the family dynamic can almost become extinct at this point. So my question is, why aren't men and women, African American men and African American women, getting in relationships anymore? And especially at this age when where we are grown. And I would love for the gentlemen that have been commenting to please continue to comment so that I can we can talk about, you know, some of the things that you're saying about the competition and about why does living have to be masculine, because I really want to understand that standpoint. Dre is saying, I don't believe that paying your own bills and making all of the decisions for everyone is masculine. He says, masculine women to me are hard. Dre, what's hard? They aren't submitting. They want to lead the men that they date. Okay. So you're saying from a dating perspective, handle all your own business, handle all of your world, but be soft when dating me and don't try to lead me while we are dating. I think that's what I'm getting from you. So present yourself as soft to me while we're dating. So live your life, handle your business, do what it is you do before I even met you. But in the dating aspect and initially when I first meet you, until we decide to be in a relationship, until we decide to get married, basically present yourself as being soft to me. Let me know if I'm not getting that right, Dre. Denise said, great evening. Independent women are being categorized as masculine energy. I don't want to exude that energy. However, being single and independent is what it is. Denise, that's what I'm trying to say. It's very easy. It's very, very easy to say, handle all of your business, live your life in your world and do what you got to do. And I'm gonna break that down a bit further. So pay your mortgage, pay your car notes, pay your taxes, provide for and take care of your children, maybe even your parents and whoever else may live in your household. You provide for everyone. You protect everyone in your household. You come out of your way to pay each and every whatever has to be paid. You figure out how this is going to get done, how this is happening in everyone's future, how to figure out how to help heal this one, what to do this one, and you make all of these decisions for yourself and for everyone else. But when you present yourself to me, you have to make sure that you are soft. Somebody help me with that one. Somebody help me with that one, right? And now, Dre, I get exactly what you're saying. I get exactly what you're saying. But what I'm saying is I don't think a lot of men understand the difficulty in being able to turn on and turn off. I am the end all be all in my world. So in most married households, because, you know, for all of us that have been married before, you know when you're it. You know when you're the nucleus. You know when you are the end all be all for everyone that's in your sphere, right? Everyone that's in your sphere, they're going to come to you. For people, if you want a biblical reference, you are the kinsman redeemer for everyone. And now that's unfortunately not just men, that's women too, right? So we are taking care of and handling and handling everything. Norm, I see your comment that men are alpha by nature. Unfortunately, you have a lot of women that are too, because they are handling every single thing. That puts you in a completely different frame of mind than from being a soft and or a kept woman. It puts you in a completely different space. When you have to handle everything, when you have to figure out everything on your own, and when you know that everyone and everything relies on you and only you, and I'm going to take it a step further, when you're a woman that feels like you don't have a covering of a man or masculine energy. So your protection is all on you. Figuring out how to stay safe is all on you. And all of those things and more that I can't even explain or put into words right now, you know that you're it. But what y'all are all saying is make sure you turn all of that off when you meet me. Now, I'm not saying that type of woman, when you meet a man, that you have to go in trying to tell them what to do, because no, none of us should be trying to tell anybody what to do when dating. None of us should be trying to tell anybody what to do when dating, because honestly, it's an interviewing session and we trying to just get to know each other, and it is what it is. So I feel like we can all present as soft and we can all present as whatever, because most people when you meet are just wearing a mask anyway. So most of us can present as the most masculine or the most feminine, whatever it is. Anyway, I'm gonna read that, Norm. Anyway, however, when that dating part is done and people are now getting into relationships, how is it possible that the woman continues to do a lot of that and she's then supposed to be this kept woman who really isn't a kept woman? It's only kept in ideology, but in reality, she's still doing every single thing to take care of herself and protect herself and her household. Something about that just isn't going to fly. It's not going to work. So let me go back to these comments here. Here we go. So Denise, I read Denise's. Hey, what's up, Jason? Y'all, make sure y'all are checking out Beards and Ballheads on Monday night right here on BKS1 Radio. Jason from 9 to 10:30. We had a good show last night. I was able to come to the studio and rock out with them last night. So Dre said yes, overall yes. Denise said truth, Toya. Dre said yup. That's exactly what he said. Dre, I love you. Norm said men are alpha by nature. Some women who can hold their own use that as a form of control in their relationship. Okay, I understand that. Use that as a form of control in their relationship. Handle your business, but create balance in your relationship. That's where the soft part comes in. And if you have to figure out everything, then you made the wrong choice. Okay, Norm. I'm going to read that again, because I just need to dissect that a little bit, Norm. Norm says, men are alpha by nature. Some women who can hold their own use that as a form. You know what? Let me take it back again. Okay. Men are alpha by nature. Now, Norm, some men are alpha by nature. I'm going to go back to how when I started this broadcast and say that the belief is, Norm, that men in your age group, we talking about 40, 50 plus, are alpha by nature. Norm, I'm here to tell you that a lot of them aren't. That's number one. That ain't no male bashing or nothing like that. But I'm going to just tell you, the perception is that most men are supposed to be, and a lot aren't. That's the first thing. Some women who can hold their own use that as a form of control in a relationship. I 10 million % agree with you. I 10 million % agree with you. And there's going to be a lot of women who are watching are not going to agree with me when I say this. There are a lot of women that don't know how to be women in relationships. There are a lot of women that don't know their position in relationships. So if you are leading with your accomplishments and you're leading with trying to use your independence as a form of control, you're not going to, you probably won't get anywhere. Now, maybe you will with some of these men that aren't alpha males, but you know what I mean? For the most that are, you're probably not going to really get anywhere with them, because that's just not the dynamic that was set up initially for us as humans, right? So I 100% agree with you. And then Norm says, handle your business, but create balance in your relationship. Okay. Handle your business, but create balance in your relationship. I feel like, again, once we get past the dating part and the masks come off, that's a very, very serious and a very deep conversation. Very serious and very deep conversation of who is going to handle what in your household or in your relationship without anyone having any kind of residual feelings or it damaging the relationship or one person feeling less than, somebody feeling controlled or someone feeling emasculated. That's a very deep conversation. You said that's where balance comes in, and that's where the soft part comes from. So balancing the independence that you had and doing everything you did on your own and protecting yourself versus getting into a relationship with someone and maybe what you're saying is allowing that other person to not the other person, allowing the man that is in your life to take on certain areas that you previously had taken on. Okay, that's the soft part, he says. He said, and if you have to figure it out on your own still while you're in your relationship, then you made the wrong choice. I can't agree with you more with that one, Nora. I can't agree with you more. If you are a woman in a relationship with a man and you still figuring out everything on your own and you still trying to provide and you still trying to take care of everyone on your own, and there is a man that you're in a relationship with, you made the wrong choice. You made the wrong choice. And take it, y'all could pretty much just take that one how you want to, but you clearly made the wrong choice with that. Okay? Denise Clapp, Norm, read all of what I said. I just did. and Dre. Back to Dre. Dre said, so you can do all this masculine stuff, but you can't turn it off when you meet a man that has masculine energy. Stop. I believe you can over time, Dre. I just think a lot of women aren't meeting men with masculine energy. I think that's all I got for that. And ladies who are watching, correct me if I'm wrong. Are you meeting men that are saying, don't worry about that, I got it? I mean, because if you are, please let me know where y'all are meeting these guys, because I would like to meet him too. But are you meeting the men that are saying, don't worry, I got it? Are you meeting the men that said, don't worry about that? Are you meeting the men that are saying you don't have to figure that out anymore? Are you meeting the men that are saying I got this? Are you meeting the men that are saying, you know what, that's my role, that's my position, don't do that anymore? Because I'm actually looking at some comments here on Instagram, and I'm looking at young ladies in their 20s and some in their 40s and some in their 30s, and every single one of them are saying no. So, Dre, I agree with you. The fact that me, and I'm going to go with me personally, the fact that I have to do all of this masculine stuff as far as making sure the grass is cut and figuring out when to power wash the siding and take care of parents and making sure my car, the oil is changed and the car is washed, and also, paying the mortgage and also paying the taxes and also making sure my children have future, and don't forget about investments and savings and finances and what we're investing in and all of those things. If I met someone that came along and said, Latoya, because I'm talking about me personally. Latoya, I'ma handle this. I'ma take this. I'ma do that. Don't worry about that. That's not what you do. That's not your place. Go somewhere and sit down. Go somewhere and be soft. I got it. I absolutely would say, boom, you got it. Problem is I haven't met that. And unfortunately, it's not just a Toya thing. The problem is most of us haven't met that. Some of the comments over here on Instagram said, right, no. Where can we find those kind of men? I like to be pointed in the direction of those men. That type of species is not around. Somebody said you can kindly sit your behind right on down if someone says that. And I absolutely would. Denise said, Denise. Wait a minute. Let me go to here. Wait. I didn't bring my mouse in. I told y'all I fell asleep and set my alarm for 6:30 a.m. and overslept. So anyway, where did you say that? Denise said, I desire to be warm and fuzzy. I don't know if I want to scream, cry, roll around on the carpet in the studio or just get up and dance a daggone jig right now. She said, I desire to be warm and fuzzy. Denise, I swear before any and all things, I have said that 8 million times. She said, and I'm going to finish what you said. You said, I desire to be warm and fuzzy with a potential mate. I'm about to give y'all a real world scenario in a second. I desire to be warm and fuzzy with a potential mate. However, I have to be alert in these. Denise, girl, I want to give you a high five. I want to give you I can't even finish. She said, I desire to be warm and fuzzy with a potential mate. However, I have to be alert in these streets, protect my loved ones, and handle my financial obligations such as bills. Denise, okay, I'm going to give y'all a real world example of something that literally just happened to me personally last week. Last week, a girlfriend of mine and I, who is married, happily married, with 2 children, we decide, once a week, because I don't go out much unless it's for work. She don't go out at all. And we were like, you know what? We're going to go to a local restaurant not too far from either one of our houses and just have dinner once a week, catch up, girls' night, everybody go home. She go home to her husband and kids. I go home to, whoever's there, right? And so we decided we were going to do that. We go out, everything's fine, we're having dinner. 2 men walk in. 2 men walk into the establishment. 2 African-American men walk into the establishment. One of the gentlemen walks over to us and says, this was his pickup line. Did you graduate from college? I know. Y'all don't even have to say anything about it. He says, did y'all graduate from college? So we looking at each other like, I'm sorry, what? You interrupting our dinner to ask us did we graduate from college? And he's like, did y'all graduate from college? And we're like, what? Why are you asking that question? Well, I was told that that's a good starting line. So did you graduate from college? So now we're staring at him kind of like with the, the tilted head like, So I respond first because I'm probably the more calmer one in the situation. I said, in fact, I did. I said, but what does that have to do with anything? Oh, well, what school did you go to? I said, I went to a number of schools. I started out right here at Rutgers. I went to a number of schools. What does that have to, really do with anything? Oh, so then he looks at my friend. Did you graduate from college? And she's like, why do you keep asking that? Are you not reading the room and seeing that might not be the best icebreaker for people that you absolutely don't know? Well, I'm just trying to ask a question and I'm just trying to do an icebreaker. I don't want no problems and I don't want no issues. So now he goes off in the restaurant and now he is now talking about us in mixed company to all of the other people that are sitting at the bar. Now he's talking about black women being miserable. Yes, Yes, this was our experience literally just last week. Now he's talking about all black women being miserable, and how if we were miserable, we shouldn't have come out the house. Spread our misery amongst the world, right? We can hear him because he's within earshot, but we're just like, okay, you know what? We're going to enjoy our meal, and we're just, going to do what we're going to do. The second guy that came in with him was his cousin, and he comes over, and now he is, say, hey, how are y'all doing? Where are y'all from? This, that, or the other. Casual conversation, blah, 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 blah. Nice. The other cousin we thought was nice, right? Time goes on. I'm going to say about 10 minutes later, there's a song playing. And as a matter of fact, it was Destiny's Child, Cater to You, that was playing over the radio in the restaurant, right? Well, somebody's playlist in the restaurant. And he says, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. So we look over again because we were trying to ignore him. We look over again. You see how these women are in this song? You see how these women are in this song? They didn't ask they didn't ask about college. So my friend says, well, actually, we didn't ask you about college either. You asked us. And he says, yeah, well, I was just trying to what was he trying to do? I was just trying to break the ice. And so we were like, oh, okay. So at this point, now we're just trying to diffuse the situation so that maybe he would leave us alone. So now he's going on and on and on, talking. No one's saying anything to him. My girlfriend turns around and she says, listen, I'm a married woman with 2 children at home. I don't want any problems. I don't want any issues. We're just trying to have a nice dinner and we are going home to our families. That's it. The gentleman, again, we are the only 4 African-American people in the restaurant. 2 black women, 2 black men. The guy turns around and then says to us, what you need to do is you need to figure out how to get your bills paid. And you need to figure out how to do something. So now he's screaming this at us in a restaurant. So now the only African-American people in a restaurant full of mixed company, one of the men is now screaming at 2 of the women. So much so that the manager and the waiters and the staff in the restaurant are now coming over to our protection in the restaurant because we're confused and trying to figure out what's going on. And in the meantime, he's going off. So now my friend is like, you know what? I just need to call my husband because this situation is getting crazy. So, and she says it where the other cousin can now hear. So the other cousin is like, no. Please don't call your husband. I will check my cousin. I'll make sure he's okay. I'll make sure he apologizes. So I turned around and I said, no. He doesn't need to apologize. Please just don't have him say anything else to us. It's okay. Just don't have him say anything else to us. And at this point, we're leaving. We have now asked the waitress to pack up our food. We're leaving because we just want to go, right? And so he says, well, no, you guys don't have to leave. We'll just blah, 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 blah. Either way, the manager comes out. He starts talking to us and asking, are we okay? Do we feel safe? This, that, or the other. And then when the cousin comes back over and says, I'm sorry for my cousin's behavior, I said, you have to understand something. We are 2 women, 2 females in a restaurant. Y'all are 2 black men and we are 2 black women in a restaurant where there is now one of the black men is yelling at us in the restaurant. We came out thinking we were safe because we weren't that far from home. We came out trying to have a good time, trying to have a meal, and now we feel unsafe in a space that we were having a great and wonderful time in, just trying to catch up with each other and have a conversation. I said, can you possibly, because the cousin told us he had a wife, I said, could you possibly understand how your wife would feel in that situation or those circumstances? Would you want your wife to call you if that happened? So the same way that you don't want my friend to call her husband, would you want your wife to call you if a man is yelling at her in a restaurant randomly? So I say all of that to say, and I gave that very real example because it literally just happened Thursday night, to say, I'm going to go back to what Denise said. I desire to be warm and fuzzy with a potential mate. However, I have to be alert in these streets and protect myself and my loved ones. So as far as operating out of masculine energy, here's one of the things I had to think about. My girlfriend could call her husband, but I could not. So I have to sit and listen to a man who's yelling at me and try to softly diffuse a situation so that while I'm walking to my car at night, this man don't walk up behind me and bust me in the daggone head. These are the things that you have to think about as a woman. This is the kind of energy that you have to have as a woman when we are single and we have to operate out of masculine energy. So I'm going to go back to my main point that it's very difficult to turn that off, especially when you just first meet someone. It's very difficult to turn off having to protect yourself. It's very difficult to turn off the fact that you provide for everything, not only in your world, but everybody else's world around you too. It's not that easy. It's not just an idea of something that you have in your head. I'm going to go on and read the rest of the comments because unfortunately we're coming to the end of the show. Hold on. So Dre also said, it's easy for me. I'm not cooking anymore. I got a wife now. Or nope, I'm not decorating anymore. I got a wife now. See, easy. Well, I think I just debunked your myth. It's not. I got divorced. I got to cook. I just moved out. I have to decorate. I turn it on and I turn it off. Why is that hard? I think I just explained it to you. Here we go. Question. What is a man supposed to take care of in the dating stage? Nothing. It's dating. Dating is an interviewing process. Absolutely nothing. You wouldn't go to a job in an interview process and start doing the work. Okay. He said, it seems as the majority of women don't require that. What he said, what does Denise look like? Denise, I think we got a match for you in the comments. Dre, you stupid. Norm says, we like warm and fuzzy. Yeah, it's nice to like it. Dre said, and that's when you slowly turn away. Right, when he was asking that question about college. Denise said he was a disgruntled man. Dre said, big time. Denise said, right, Toya. Aisha, hey, girl. Aisha said, yes, it is definitely difficult not to be on defense. Exactly. Denise said, I enjoyed this topic because it holds true to myself. And Aisha said, I feel like black people don't really understand how to date honestly. Girl, they don't. They don't. I'm going to go back to my example that I give everyone. If you were interviewing for a job, number one, would you only interview for one job at a time? Or would you put your application into multiple places that you think meet the requirements of the things that you want and or need in your life? That's number one, because it's dating and it's an interview process. Number two, would you go to a job just because you wanted the job and just because you got an interview at the job and start doing the work without any benefits and without any pay? No, you wouldn't. So why would you do that in dating? Dating is an interview process, people. It's an interview process. You're asking questions. You're spending time to get to know people to see if you all are compatible. If you're not, there are no hard feelings. It just is what it is. And you keep on going to the next until everyone finds what it is that they are looking for. That's it. That's dating. And the sad part is you're not supposed to do that for 15 years. Oh my God. You're not supposed to do that for 15 years. This is why people of other races do that for probably a max of 2 years top, figure out who it is that they want to be with, and then move on to relationships, marriages, building futures, generational wealth, all of those things. and we as a people do not. I don't know how else to say it. If you wouldn't do it on a job interview, don't do it in dating. That's all I got. Anyway, I'm over my time now because it is 8:01. What did you say, Maria? Marie said, hi, Maria. Maria said, very well said, Toya. I love it. Hey, girl. And then Aisha said, my mom didn't stop dating multiple men until one of them put a ring on it. After him and another one ended up at the same wedding. Oh, geez. Oh, God. Okay, Ish. But I completely understand what you're saying. You date until you find the person you're supposed to be with. From a female standpoint, no, that does not mean sleeping with everybody. You don't sleep with everybody that you talk to. You don't sleep with everyone that you go out on a date with. That is not what it means. It does not mean being loose or whatever the terminologies or whatever it is. It means it's an interviewing process. You meet this guy. Attraction wise, before you know anything about him, he meets whatever it is that you like. Okay, now you guys exchange information. Are you compatible? Can you get along? All of those things. And then you move forward from there. But again, if you cannot do it on an interview, why would you do it in dating? Ta-da! There you go. That's it. That's dating 101. Denise said, thanks, Toya. Have a great weekend. Exactly. Dating is not sex. Those are two different things. Exactly. Thank you, guys. I love you all for watching, and I love you all for listening. And God willing, I will be here next week, same time, different show. I do have the ladies of Yoshida Academy who are going to be in the building with me as of next week. And we're going to be going back to talking about those red flags. We talk about red flags in relationships. We talk about red flags in the corporate space. We talk about red flags with family, with friends, whatever the relationship is. There are red flags in all that you can see ahead of time and make sure you do something about it in a healthy manner. So stay tuned for that next week. I love you all for watching. I love you all for listening. I love everyone that was in the comments today. And I will see you all next time. Be safe. Stay on the healing journey. Bye, y'all.